So what's going on, guys? DIY Dan here again, and this is another mechanical video. In this video, I'm going to be doing a quick tutorial if you're using a tap either to make threads or in order to clean some threads up and you have one of those taps break on you during that process. I'm going to be showing you how you can remove that broken off tap using a specialty tool for this specific situation. And because we are Amazon affiliates, I will have the link to this specialty tool in my description if you need to get that coming. Now, the project I was working on when this tap broke on me was actually modifying the shifter in my long travel sand rail. I added stops to the mechanism so I could not overextend the linkage in the transmission itself. And then I also added some push springs to make sure that shifter went to center every time I shifted gears. Now, that's a quick explanation of what I was doing when I had this tap break on me, but this is about removing that broken tap. So let's get to it. Now, in my situation, I had actually cut this piece of steel, drilled 2 holes, went ahead and tapped those holes, then went ahead and welded it in place. However, a little piece of slag got into the threads when I tacked it in place, and I was basically just trying to clean up that slag that was in those threads when this tap broke on me. Now, the tap I broke was a 5/16 National Coarse Thread tap, and in all honesty, I've never been really too impressed with my tap and die set from Snap-on. I've had it for years, but I've had several taps break on me that I really don't think it should have happened. Taps are very hard, meaning they are very brittle, so you do have to be careful. Now, when this tap broke, I did not have that much leverage on it, and you can see the can of WD-40 in the background that I was using to help lubricate that tap. So needless to say, I was very pissed when it actually broke on me. So here is what comes in this kit, specifically made to remove broken off taps. It is made by Walton, and as I said, I will have the link to this tool in my description if you want to get it coming. So I'm going to show you how to properly use this tool really quick, and then I will show you the actual footage from me removing the broken part of the tap from the vehicle after that. So you'll notice in this broken tap removal kit that there are several different sizes of the tool, and that is the first thing you will need to determine on which size you actually need for the broken tap that you're trying to remove. So you'll notice the tools that are in the kit have 4 individual prongs, and those prongs fit in the voids in the tap. So I have found that obviously I want to try and get the biggest tool that I can possibly get, that those prongs will fit in the voids of that tap and still fit in the hole that it's broken off into. Because obviously the bigger tool you can use, the stronger it is and the easier time it's going to have trying to remove that broken tap in that hole. So right here you can see I'm sliding those prongs over the voids in the tap. Now obviously this would be broken off in a hole. However, the concept's the same no matter whether it's in the hole or not. You also want to slide those prongs a little bit past the edge of the broken off tap if possible. Now obviously there's going to be some circumstances where you can't necessarily do that, but when you can, it's always a good idea. And once again, this is for strength purposes. You want to get as much of the prongs of that tool over the broken off piece of tap as possible. Once you accomplish that, then you're going to want to slide the collar of the tool all the way down as far as you can to the broken off piece of tap that's in the hole. Once that's done, then you're going to go ahead and grab a small wrench or a crescent wrench, or they do actually make tap sockets, and slowly and carefully try and back that broken off piece of tap out of that hole. So here's the actual footage of me doing it on the broken off piece of tap in that piece of steel. I do apologize that the footage isn't a little clearer for this section of this video, but I didn't realize it, and at the time I was doing this, I was very pissed off and frustrated that I had broken that tap. So right here, I'm just trying to situate those prongs of that tool through the tap, and right there you can see it going through, and I'm past the actual broken off piece of tap in that steel. Then you're going to see me go ahead and slide the collar of that tool as far down as I can to the broken off piece of tap. Once that was done, then I went ahead and found a wrench that fit the square drive of the actual tool, and I very carefully started trying to back it off. Now you'll notice when I'm backing this off that I'm holding pressure on that collar against that broken off piece of tap, and that is to keep that tool as strong as possible. If you don't hold pressure on that collar and that collar starts sliding up the tool, you're going to lose the strength in those prongs in the broken off piece of tap, and there's a chance those prongs will start weakening and bending, and then that tool is not really any good anymore. And that's all there is to it, guys. Right there you can see I have fully removed that broken off piece of that tap in that piece of steel. Now I've used this tool several times to remove broken off taps. Obviously the best option here is not to break your taps, but there is a chance that's going to happen, and if you do, Not very many good options as far as removing a broken off tap out of a hole, and this is by far the best that I have ever seen. So that is going to wrap it up for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it and it gave you some good information. If so, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. The whole concept of my channel is to give you guys the most information in the least amount of time as possible so I don't waste your time. And I hope to see you next time. Have a good one. Later.